1 B- and you're dead to me, Dad said, throwing my calculus textbook onto the pile of my belongings scattered across the wet lawn. Meanwhile, my brother Dylan stumbled out of his third total BMW that month, reeking of whiskey and vomit, and Dad rushed to help him inside. 20 years later, when Dad called my law firm begging me to give Dylan just one more chance, I wondered if he remembered that rainy night he taught me the most valuable lesson of my life. Family disappointment is the best motivator for success. The test paper was still in my backpack, red ink bleeding through where Professor Martinez had marked each error. 73%. Not failing, not even close. But in the Harrison household, anything below an A was a catastrophe. At least it was for me. Sophia, get your things and get out. Dad continued, his voice ice cold as November rain pelted my photography equipment, my clothes, my senior year textbooks. I won't have a failure living under my roof. Mom stood in the doorway, wringing her hands but saying nothing. She never said anything when Dad got like this. Dylan lounged on the couch inside, gaming controller in hand, empty beer bottles creating a fortress around him. He dropped out of college 2 years ago, but that was different. Dylan was finding himself. Dylan was going through a phase. Dylan was the son who carried on the Harrison name. I was just the daughter who dared to struggle with multivariable calculus. It's one test, I tried, rain mixing with tears on my face. I can retake it, Professor Martinez said. I don't care what he said. You think the real world gives you retakes? You think law firms will care about your excuses? Dad's face was purple with rage. Your brother may have his struggles, but at least he doesn't pretend to be something he's not. That's when Dylan crashed through the front door. Hey, slight problem. The Beamer's in the Johnstons' pool. Dad's expression shifted instantly. Are you hurt, son? Nah, I'm good. Might need a new car, though. Dylan noticed me then, standing among my soaked possessions. What's with the yard sale? Your sister failed the test. She's leaving. Dylan shrugged. Sucks to suck, Sophie. I loaded what I could salvage into my beat-up Honda Civic, the car I bought myself with 3 summers of waitressing money. Dad had bought Dylan his first BMW for his 16th birthday, replaced it when he wrapped it around a telephone pole 6 months later, then replaced that one when he drove it into a storefront during a misunderstanding with local law enforcement. As I drove away, I saw Dad's arm around Dylan's shoulders in the rearview mirror, guiding him inside, probably to discuss which BMD model would replace the one currently taking a swim next door. I spent that night in my car in a Walmart parking lot, using their Wi-Fi to email Professor Martinez about extra credit opportunities. The next morning, I found a room for rent in a house with 3 other college seniors. It smelled like cat litter and burned popcorn, but it was dry and it was mine. Parents kicked you out? Asked Amara, one of my new roommates, as I dragged in a garbage bag full of damp clothes. Fail the test. Just one. Just one. She whistled low. Damn, my parents threw a party when I passed chemistry with a C+. That night, I made 3 decisions. First, I would ace the rest of my calculus tests. Second, I would get into law school without a penny from my father. Third, I would never let anyone make me feel worthless over a single mistake again. The first goal took months of late nights in the library. Professor Martinez became my unofficial mentor, staying after class to explain concepts until they clicked. You're not bad at math, he told me once. You're just learning at your own pace. There's no shame in that. I aced the final, B+ for the course overall. But Martinez wrote on my final paper, most improved student I've ever taught. The legal world will be lucky to have someone with your determination. The second goal took longer. I worked 3 jobs through the rest of undergrad, tutoring, waitressing, and filing papers at a small law firm downtown. The LSAT nearly broke me, but I studied with the same intensity I'd applied to calculus. When the acceptance letter from Georgetown came, I sat in my crappy shared bathroom and cried. Mom called occasionally, always when Dad wasn't home. He asks about you, she'd whisper. No, he doesn't. Well, he doesn't ask directly, but I can tell he thinks about you. How's Dylan? The silence always stretched too long before she answered. He's going through another rough patch. Rough patches, I learned, included 2 DUIs, 3 more totaled cars, and a stint in rehab that Dad proclaimed a transformative experience until Dylan left early to party in Cancun. Law school was brutal, beautiful, and exactly what I needed. I graduated magna cum laude, landed a job at a prestigious firm, and worked like my life depended on it. Because it did. Every case I won, every promotion I earned, every client I impressed was a middle finger to the man who'd thrown me out for a B minus. By 30, I was a senior associate. By 35, a partner. I started my own firm at 38, poaching the best lawyers from bigger firms with promises of work-life balance and profit sharing. Harrison and Associates expanded to 3 offices within 2 years. We specialized in employment law, helping people who'd been wronged by those in power. It felt like justice. I hadn't spoken to my father in 20 years when his name appeared on my phone screen last Tuesday afternoon. Sophia? His voice was older, rougher. It's Dad. I almost hung up. Instead, I heard myself say, "What do you want?" How are you?" "Successful." "What do you want?" He cleared his throat. "I heard about your firm. What you've built. It's impressive." Still not calling to apologize. "I see. Sophia. It's Ms. Harrison. We're not family, remember? You made that very clear. That was a long time ago. You have to understand, I was trying to push you to be your best. By throwing me out in the rain, by choosing my drunk brother over me. Dylan's had his struggles. Dylan's a 42-year-old alcoholic who's never held a job for more than 3 months. Mom's secret phone calls had kept me informed over the years. He's reformed now. 6 months sober. He's changed, Sophia. He needs a fresh start, a chance to prove himself. I was hoping, your firm has that new office in Denver. He cold. I laughed, actually laughed. You want me to hire Dylan? He's your brother. He's a liability. How many cars has he totaled now? 7, 8? That's in the past. He needs this, Sophia. We need this. The medical bills from his last accident, the legal fees. I'm underwater. If he could just get a steady job, show the court he's responsible. The court? What did he do now? Silence. Then, he may have had a small incident last month. But he's in treatment. He's taking it seriously this time. Like he took it seriously the last 5 times. You don't understand what it's like to watch your child struggle. You're right. I don't, because you kicked your child out for getting a B minus on a calculus test, remember? That was different. You're right again. It was different. I was sober. I was trying. I just needed support and you gave me abandonment. Dylan crashed cars into buildings and you gave him new ones. Sophia, please, I'm begging you. The answer is no. You won't even consider it. He's family. Family. I let the word hang between us. Tell me, Dad, what family throws their daughter out for struggling with math? What family chooses their drunk son over their dedicated daughter? What family calls after 20 years of silence asking for favors? I did what I thought was best. You did what was easy. Dylan was easy to enable. I was easy to discard. Guess what? I'm not easy anymore. So you'll let your brother suffer despite me. I'll protect my employees and my firm from someone who's proven repeatedly that he can't be trusted. That's not spite. That's good business. You've become cold, Sophia. I've become successful. Isn't that what you wanted? He hung up. I sat in my office, my beautiful corner office with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, and felt nothing. No satisfaction, no guilt, just the hollow echo of a connection that had been severed long ago. Janet knocked on my door. "Ms. Harrison, I have those resumes you requested for the Denver office manager position." "Thank you. Any standouts?" "There's a woman named Carla Mendez. Started as a paralegal, worked her way up, single mom putting herself through night school for her MBA. No fancy credentials, but her references are incredible." I smiled. Set up an interview. That evening, I called Mom from my apartment, a penthouse I'd bought with my own money, earned through my own work. "He told me he called you," she said softly. "He wanted me to hire Dylan." "I know. I told him not to, but you know your father." "I used to think I did." "Sophia, I need you to know something. That night, I should have stood up for you. I should have stopped him. I've regretted it every day since." "Mom." "No, let me finish. I was a coward. I chose peace over my daughter, and I lost you because of it. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." We both cried then, 20 years of hurt flowing through the phone line. Is Dylan really in treatment? I asked finally. He's in court-ordered rehab. Again. Your father mortgaged the house to pay for lawyers after the last accident. Dylan hit a family. They were okay, thank God, but barely. Jesus. Your father still believes Dylan will turn it around. He can't see, he won't see. That Dylan's exactly who Dad taught him to be. Yes. We talked for another hour. She told me about her garden, her book club, her volunteer work at the library. I told her about my firm, my cases, my life. It felt like talking to a stranger who could have been family. The next morning, I promoted Carla Mendez to Denver office manager. She cried when I told her the salary. I won't let you down, she promised. I know you won't. You're not the type who gets handed things. You earn them. That afternoon, another unknown number called. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity won. Is this Sophia Harrison? A woman's voice, tired and stressed. Yes. I'm Patricia Chen, your brother's public defender. I'm calling because Dylan listed you as a character reference. He did what? I take it you weren't aware. He said you were a successful lawyer who could speak to his family support system. Ms. Chen, I haven't spoken to my brother in 20 years. I see. Well, that's unfortunate. He seems certain you'd help. My brother has always been certain people would help him. Usually they do. Not this time, I'm afraid. The prosecutor's pushing for maximum sentencing. Third DUI with injury, without family support, without employment prospects. He's looking at prison time. Yes. I thought about Dylan on that couch, game controller in hand, watching Dad throw my life onto the lawn. Good. I'm sorry. Actions have consequences, Ms. Chen. It's time my brother learned that lesson. You won't help at all? Write a letter. Offer employment. I'll write a letter. I'll tell the truth about a man who's been enabled his entire life, who's never faced real consequences, who's endangered countless innocent people. Will that help? She sighed. Not in the way he hopes. Thank you for your time, Ms. Harrison. That night, I did write a letter. Not to the court, but to Professor Martinez, thanking him for believing in a struggling student when her own family wouldn't. He wrote back immediately. I always knew you'd go far. Students like you make teaching worthwhile. 3 weeks later, Dylan was sentenced to 5 years. Dad called 17 times. I didn't answer once. Mom visited last week. It was the first time I'd seen her in 20 years. She looked older, grayer, smaller somehow. Your office is beautiful, she said, running her fingers along my desk. Thank you for coming. Your father doesn't know I'm here. I figured. We had lunch at a small cafe near my office. She told me Dylan was adjusting to prison, that Dad visited him every week, that the house was too quiet now. He still has all your awards, she said suddenly. Your high school diplomas, your debate trophies, hidden in his office closet. I saw him looking at them once. That doesn't change anything. I know. I just thought you should know. As we parted, she hugged me tight. I'm proud of you, Sophia. So proud. You became everything we should have helped you become. I became everything despite him. Maybe that's what makes it more impressive. I watched her go, this woman who gave birth to me but never quite figured out how to be my mother. I felt sorry for her, trapped between a husband who couldn't admit fault and a son who couldn't accept it. That evening, I reviewed applications for our new scholarship program, full rides for law students who'd overcome family rejection. The Harrison Scholarship, I called it. Dad would hate the irony. My phone buzzed. Another unknown number. Sophia, it's Dylan. Prison calls have that distinctive echo. I almost hung up. What do you want? I wanted to say sorry. For what? Watching Dad throw me out. Taking his side. 20 years of silence. All of it. I was a shit brother. You were. Dad said you wouldn't hire me. Dad was right. I get it. I wouldn't hire me either. He paused. You know what the funny thing is? I always knew you'd make it. Even that night, I knew. You were always tougher than me. That's not funny. That's sad. Yeah, maybe. Sophie, I need you to know. I never asked Dad to call you. That was all him. But you gave my name to your lawyer. I was desperate. Stupid, but desperate. You've always been both. He laughed, bitter but real. True. Look, I know you hate May. I don't hate you, Dylan. I nothing you. You're just someone I used to know. Silence. Then, that's worse somehow. Maybe, but it's what you earned. Fair enough. Take care, Sophie. It's Sophia. And you too. I hung up and went back to the scholarship applications. One caught my eye. A young man kicked out for being gay, working 3 jobs to pay for school. Another, a woman whose parents said law was man's work. Story after story of people who'd been told they weren't enough, who decided to prove otherwise. I approved them all. That night, I stood on my balcony, city lights sparkling below. 20 years ago, I'd slept in a car, rain-soaked and heartbroken. Now I owned the kind of life Dad had said I'd never achieve. Not despite that night, but because of it. He'd meant to break me. Instead, he'd forged me into something unbreakable. My phone rang one more time. Dad again. This time, I answered. What? Your brother called, said you talked. Briefly. He said you were right. About everything. I waited. I failed you, Sophia. I failed you both, but I failed you worse. I see that now. No, you don't. You see that Dylan's in prison and you need someone to blame besides yourself. Maybe, but I also see that you're everything I said I wanted you to be, and I had nothing to do with it. Less than nothing. You actively worked against it. Yes. We breathed together across the miles, 2 strangers who shared DNA and nothing else. I'm hanging up now, I said. Don't call again. Sophia. Goodbye, Dad. I blocked his number, then Dylan's. Then, after a moment's hesitation, I saved Mom's. Tomorrow, I'd interview more scholarship candidates. Next week, I'd argue a case for a woman fired for taking maternity leave. Next month, I'd open another office, hire more lawyers, help more people. But tonight, I raised a glass of very expensive wine to the girl who'd stood in the rain with a B- and a broken heart. She'd done well. Better than well. She'd done it all herself. And that, I decided, was the only validation that mattered.